Hi, this is Dave from Steel City Drones Flight Academy. We got a lot of really good feedback recently on the new video we just put out there regarding a good comprehensive live demo for the Matrice and the Mavic. That really kind of needs a segue into another video because we get a lot of really good questions, and I want to share some of these things that we're discussing with people so that it may be helpful to you in general and to our audience. So where I think a lot of people are getting a disconnect from is they don't realize that when you're interested in start using drones, that it's a full process. It's a process that needs to be done right, and you have to lay down the foundation for a good program so that it's going to be very successful to you, or it very well may just be a waste of money and time. So we're going to go over some of the mistakes I see some of the people making, and we'll talk about the right way to do a lot of things. So where do we start off with? Well, obviously, we got to start off with an idea of when we're looking at wanting to use drones, what kind of budget do we have? And what I'd say, really look at that. I know everybody wants to do things as least expensive as possible, but you got to have some range for that. Because let's say you want an aircraft that, like the Matrice here, that is the price range, it's a higher price range, but you only have, let's say, $4,000 budget. Well, you're not going to even be able to get anywhere close to that, so there's no discussion on that. So then you're going to be looking at something like this. Then you have to determine, is an aircraft like this, is that something that we can use and develop? I'll give you an example. We had one public safety agency call us recently, and they wanted to start using drones as quickly as possible, and they wanted to use a fleet of Mavic Minis. Now, we have a whole dedicated video on the Mavic Mini review. That's more in line of a practice drone or a drone to get your feet wet from a hobbyist standpoint, but not necessarily a commercial standpoint. So the quality of your aircraft is going to go a long way, and you really do get what you pay for. So you have to look at, A, do we have enough money to be able to facilitate the needs for what we have? We'll be glad to help you go through that process every step of the way, but want to make sure that you understand that. The second thing is you can't rush through this process. We had a construction company call us last week that wanted to know how fast we could get them a drone and the training because they had a job the next week to start using this stuff for. And that's not the right approach. You have to go through a whole process, and this process may take several months, at least a couple months by the time that you go through the whole process, and we're going to step you through that. If you need drones for your company and organization right away, the best thing to do is to get a contractor out there that can go out there and be able to get you the content you need for the short term and not rush what you have to go through, because picking out the equipment is something that you want to be very careful and methodical about. Then you have to figure out and make sure that you have the budget. You have to pass that budget. Then you have to figure out how many operators do we want to get trained, what type of level and training do we want to get them, and what kind of internal processes do we need to ensure that we have a good program internally. And that's where a lot of people are not understanding that. The success of your drone program is primarily going to be predicated on how well of a drone program you have set up internally. What that means is, does your company have a drone policy? And what does that policy include? Now, what we do is when we set up our agency's drone programs, we set them up with two documents. A drone policy document that's a very coarse 2 to 3 page document, but also an SOP that's going to be anywhere between 10 to 60 pages long, depending upon what your organization needs. Now, where the mistake a lot of people make, a lot of people in organizations make, is that they will Google drone program and they will find out what someone else did and they try to just copy that. That is the biggest mistake that anybody can make when you're trying to set up a program. Even when you have two, let's use public safety agencies for example, you have even two neighboring agencies, one that's here and one that's about 3 miles away. They cannot be duplicated because how they work, how they function are going to be two completely different, separate ways. And you cannot use a cookie cutter type of program that's going to be successful. It just can't happen. We've seen a lot of people try that and it just doesn't work out. Or even the worst place is that an organization doesn't put a program in place at all, and they just go out and wing it. They'll go out and buy a drone, and they figure it out as they go. And then there's no organization to anything. The importance of an SOP is that you have consistency for every operator in your organization to follow, and they're very specific guidelines. How everybody wants to do that is going to be dependent upon the organization. And that's what when we set up a program for our companies, we'll have a kickoff meeting for about a 2-hour process where we ask them about 30 questions to get an idea. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then we have a real foundation to go off of, because a lot of organizations may want a 5-page document, and some organizations want a 70-page document, and anything in between. So there is no guideline of a cookie cutter type of a program that you can use. And that's where a lot of people don't understand that. Drones are complex. You have to go be methodical about everything. And if you don't understand drones, or you don't have anybody with a large vast of experience, it's very difficult to be able to set up a program properly without that experience. And that's where we can come in and help out if you want that help. But nevertheless, if you want to try to do it yourself, that's fine, but be as methodical about it. Like, I'll give you some tips and general guidelines. Where are you going to store the aircraft? So how's it going to be checked out or distributed? What kind of applications are going to be used? And when it comes back, what are the check-in guidelines? How is it going to be inspected? For example, when you have a matrice like this, you can have over 50 different items inside your Go Professional case. What are you going to do when something's missing? Who's going to be accountable for that? Are you going to have a operations manager that's overseeing the entire program? Who's going to be responsible for training? What kind of training aspects are you going to have, and the elements of requirements are your operators going to have to fulfill? All these things happen, and the larger your organization is, the more the legal team of your organization, they're going to want to have their hands into this as well, because there's a lot of legalities when it comes to flying drones. And that's why it's really important to have a lot of consistency in your drone program so everyone follows the same thing. If you have a 1 or 2 page document only, and there's nothing then for a drone operator, a remote pilot, a camera operator, or a visual observer of specific rules to be able to go ahead and go by. And just the training aspect of itself on how to be able to use this equipment is not enough. It has to be including a really good, solid program. So with that said, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be glad to help you step you through this process. Once again, thanks again for watching. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. If you like this video and like to see more free videos in the future, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, if you're interested in free lessons on how to fly drones, discounts on drone equipment, discounts on insurance, or access to our exclusive drone video library, check out our website, steelcityflightacademy.com.